Our first comic coming to the stage, you've seen her on Comedy Central. Please put your hands together for Jamie Loftus.
Gang, hello. I'm bigger than all of my lovers, so therefore. How are you guys? Are you guys good? Okay. As a woman, let's address it right at the top. As a woman who has been fingered to all of the John Goodman scenes in 10 Cloverfield Lane, in theaters, I feel that my story must be told. I feel like I have trouble introducing myself to people. I'm a very nervous person by nature, and I feel like everyone has sort of like an anecdote that they'll use to endear themselves to you, and some people have a really good one. Like some people will be like, "Oh, I met Drake once at a haunted mini mall," and you're like, "That's pretty good. I like that. I'd hang out with you," right? And some people have a little more intricate ones. They're like, "Oh, it turns out the woman I thought was my older sister was actually my mom, and it turns out the woman I thought was my mom was actually Gina Davis in The Role of a Lifetime, and it turns out the woman I thought was my grandmother has actually been frozen in ice for millions of years and floating in the ocean." It's like, okay, well, I can't match that. But nothing particularly interesting has happened to me for about 6 to 7 years, but I've been working on one. And let me know afterwards if it endears me to you. So here's what I've been trying out. I've been saying, hey, my name's Jamie. I was the vice president of National Honor Society in 2010. Go Boxers. But unfortunately, I was impeached as the vice president of National Honor Society because I was caught administering a hand job in the downstairs handicapped bathroom. But here's the thing, I did not administer that hand job, which you know for sure because I used the word administer to describe giving a hand job. It wasn't me. It was a girl who went to my high school who looked exactly like me named Allison Colarusso, right? And so I went down to the principal's office and I said, hey, it wasn't me who gave you that hand job. Who administered that hand job? It was Allison Colarusso. And immediately the principal said, that's exactly what Allison Colarusso said you would say. And I was like, wow, this girl's got me good. She gets to see what a penis looks like, and I'm fired. I was shocked, and I looked down on my hands, and I looked back up at her, and I looked back down on my hands, but this time they were covered in cum. And then I realized all at once that I was for sure Jamie Loftus, right? But I was also Allison Colarusso. And then I told my friend Chuck about it, and he wrote a book called Fight Club. That's the first joke. Feel okay about it. I'm trying to make some positive changes in my life. It came to my attention that I need to be making these changes the other day when I was driving through the Jack in the Box in my neighborhood. I was going through the drive-thru, and I drove up to the window, and I said, hey, and they said, hey, Jamie, what's up? They could not yet see me. Based on my voice alone, they said, hey, Jamie, what's up? This is the equivalent of calling a suicide hotline and them saying, like, my man, what's going on? Things not so good, feeling a little sad, maybe? So I do think I need to make some changes. I've called a suicide hotline exactly one time in my life, about a year ago, and it was on a Saturday night. Who wants to live through a Saturday night? And I called, and I was on hold for 45 minutes, which is just a fun addendum. But eventually I finally got through, and keep in mind, people who are on suicide hotlines, who are manning them, they're all volunteers. So if you've ever volunteered for something, think about perhaps how qualified you were for the thing you were doing. Like, I've never been qualified for something I volunteered for. I joined the Key Club in high school so that Stephen Walsh would finger me behind the YMCA. Right? And that worked very well. Did I help anyone? Absolutely not. I volunteered for Bernie Sanders before he was a podcaster and before his second wind, if you will. And someone last year, Bernie Sanders volunteer, offered me $20 to take all of his flyers so he could go home. So the point being, you don't need to be qualified to volunteer for something. And these people are also in charge of your life when you call the suicide hotline. So I finally got through to someone, and she was very sweet. She sounded very young, like she was in college or something. And she picked up, and she was like, "Hello, this is Clara, Life's Worth Living." I was like, awesome. I'm going to try to bully this suicide hotline operator until she herself wants to die. But she was trying really hard, and this was a Saturday night. And so I explained to her what was going on, and she was like, well, if you need a reason to see tomorrow, Game of Thrones is on Sundays. Have you ever seen it? Here, it's real good, right? And immediately, I was like, no, Clara, I have not seen Game of Thrones. I'm not a fucking nerd, right? And you can feel her heart sink into her uterus. But she still tries, and she was like, if you can't watch Game of Thrones, my uncle has an HBO Go subscription. Perhaps I could give you the password. And so now, not only am I feeling way better, I also have HBO Go. So that worked out real well for me. I want to stop for a moment and do a brief survey that I like to do just by show of hands. Raise your hand if you're also named after a past miscarriage of your parents. Hands up. If this is you. Okay, I'm not seeing any. Sorry, there's a past miscarriage. Okay, I feel like maybe this is like a miscommunication on my part, because that usually like 4 or 5 hands just shoot right up, when you say that. So I'll get into it a little bit. So let's say in theory, it's the mid-1980s, right? Your parents aren't in love. They're prepared to give it 20 to 30 years anyways, right? And they try to have a kid, doesn't work out. Early 90s comes along. They decide, hey, we do want a kid. Same name, no reason, it's you. Hands up if this is you. Okay, we're usually at about a third of the room by now. Let's try it again. So to be clear, Jamie, not a family name. No need to use it more than once. My mom found my name when she was doing a special on porcelain dolls. She saw a QVC special on porcelain dolls. She saw a young porcelain doll of a young boy, a little glass fancy boy in a blue suit. And she said to herself, I'll name as many children as it takes until I get my little glass fancy boy. Right. And then she had a kid, and it was you. Hands up. This is you. Cool. Usually about 2/3 of the room by now. We'll give it one last shot. So, of course, my mom buys this glass doll. She's not a fool, right? She's a cool mom, which just means she's a bad mom. So she buys this doll, and of course she has it turned into a lamp, which to date has seen me have sex with everyone I've ever had sex with. Hands up if this is you. All right, cool. I feel bad for you guys, because you guys are going to spend your whole lives trying to figure out what makes you so fucked up on the inside. Me, day one, I know exactly what's up. Named after a little glass boy who watches me fuck poorly. Okay, thanks so much. My name's Jamie.